I just said, well, we went and bought all the clothes, my clothes. When I was Italian grandmother, it's extremely possessive of their sons. Yeah. Yeah. I consider him like my good son. Yeah, he's a grandson, but I've already raised so many sons. Johnson, did you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one?
Hi, hey, Riley.
Remember?
No, yeah, as long as we're the judge starts the middle.
So I get the back.
I had that talk to you, pick up 6 of them. Take them and shake them, and roll them.
See, we were right, just wrong county.
Sir?
We were right, just wrong county.
Oh,
What county is it?
This one?
No. Our father of our client.
Oh, I didn't see Jim was on.
cool. I've never been there. Fort Bend County.
Oh, man, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's been with the sheriff's department for 40 years. Well, and then the constables, no, 30 years, and he's got 10 years.
Yeah.
It's total of 4. He just, I don't think he'll ever retire.
What is this thing? I'm Kyle Pinkerton, by the way.
Oh,
One of the attorneys at work. I'm just kind of here in back there.
all right, well, so nice to meet you.
They call me grandpa.
Oh, that's all right.
I've been doing this for years. How are you doing, man? It was split.
But it's not there. I we're not playing anything like that. But
It's a cartoon game. It's fun, but
it's me and my brain, it just takes so much concentration to play it perfect.
like that. Just like it.
They're fast. I'm
Like,
Kyle Pinkerton, by the way. No, it's not me. Okay.
Yeah, see what
I'm one of the other attorneys. That's fine. You should help. Small school. I appreciate
We
that.
love it.
Well, I
Thank you.
told my mom and son. Got it?
I love your tie.
Thank you.
The tie is great.
Hey, you know, I was thinking, I always say when I'm on what I think it's like, I used to, years ago when I was baby boy, I had my favorite tie. Like, I won one case wearing that tie.
Okay, so that's-
Remember that?
that's your
And then when
good
it started wearing off, I'm like, oh, that's not my favorite tie.
you got it.
Kind of like the stereotype for university players, they have their special.
Or the baseball players,
Baseball players, they got
they
their.
get too busy in the game, they don't watch the socks.
Yeah, or something, you know, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a crazy game you found yesterday.
I thought it was gonna be a nasty game, but it was just,
It's
it
kid
used to be
friendly,
goldfish.
it's
I remember
a
Old Bay
cartoon
and
game.
goldfish.
But
Little
It's 700 plus rules.
I think I'd have to get. Oh, well, we can do it.
I understand that.
I don't think they do. I want Old Maid.
Yeah, solitaire.
There you go.
I'm a solitaire guy.
I'm the guard dog.
You know, it's.
Mama bear.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Italian mama.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
We hang on to our sons and grandsons. Okay.
A lot of times when I'm driving on distances, I'll listen to like. And Ray Romano talking about his mom. And like, if you come to dinner at my house and you don't want anything else to eat, you have to shoot her. I mean, he goes through the whole thing of, I had to take a little bit and you get the big plate.
You fill the plate up.
Watch out, she's got a manicotti and apron, and if you really don't want anything else to eat, you have to shoot.
That's right, they should keep on pushing food on you. Yes. I remember.
As you leave, come on, I'm just gonna go move the car close and you leave.
That's cute, but yeah.
You guys want me to sit back here?
For right now, yeah, maybe when we get going and we'll call them, we'll probably end up sitting up there. So, yeah, that's fine.
Just, you look skinny.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, my mother was born and raised in Mississippi, and Southern women are pretty much the same way.
They're the same way.
Kind of the way my mom was back in the day, so. My grandmother especially was.
Why not? This is how we're talking about.
I don't know what.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay, you can always see it.
Thank you, Your
Let
Honor.
me see. You have to do I gotta do a quick Zoom probate case, so you're good.
Or,
Oh, filled you in, huh?
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Hello, and is Mr. Longoria part of this also?
He is the attorney ad litem, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm still looking for him.
While we're waiting, I had emailed your assistant, not soon enough, 30 minutes ago. Do you prefer, I'd sent her a proposed judgment. Do you prefer that Mr. Longoria and I sign that before you consider it?
I can just sign it today.
Okay.
So did you get an email?
Check.
Okay, you want to check and see if we have.
Apologies, Ms. Lozano. I was a little bit delinquent getting it to you.
You may want to call, say, Karina.
Judge, is my client Gabriel Giannotti, do you see him on the line?
I do. Oh, he's muted.
Okay. Got it. Okay. We should have two witnesses.
And we may give Mr. Longoria a call and see where he's at. Well, while we're looking for him, so is it Mr. Giannotti and Mr. Bowden, the attorney, witnesses?
Yes, Richard Giannotti is a witness and Johnny Bowden is a witness. And then Gabriel Giannotti is the applicant,
Okay.
my client.
And is the other witness, is he the one that's listed as Mia?
As what?
On my screen, somebody
Oh.
that,
Richard, you're muted.
he's talking, but he's still muted.
All right, here I am. Yeah,
All right, good.
I'm
Okay.
Richard. I'm Richard Giannotti, but this is a studio, and that's why it shows Mia.
Okay,
Yes.
no problem.
Hello, Richard. This is Don.
Hey, what's going on?
Gabriel, is that you?
Did you say Gabriel?
Yeah, is that you?
This is me.
Yeah, hey,
Hi. Nice to meet you.
exactly. Don't think you've been to my office.
No, sir, not me.
Strange world we're in. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely some weird times.
And then, Mr. Walden, did you talk to Mr. Longoria? I see he filed an answer. I wonder.
I communicated with him as recently as about 2 days ago, Your Honor. I showed him my proposed judgment, and he said he had no problem with it.
Okay.
So, and he told me what his fee was, what fee he was going to request.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, as soon as Ms. Lozano comes back in, we'll call him. And we need to call Mr. Longoria and find out.
I had to close down and open it up.
Okay, so now I have, Mr. Walden, I have the proposed judgment in front of me.
Zoom or something. Sorry.
And so, Mr. Walden, we tracked down Mr. Longoria, and he's frantically trying to connect. So he said if he
Okay.
can't get on his computer, he's just going to go on his phone. So he is attempting to get on right now.
it's making me look high tech. That's hard to do.
All right, I think we're all here. The gang's all here. All right, so let me get, guess Mr. Richard Giamatti, if we get you to unmute for a minute, and Mr. Bowden, unmute.
Bowden. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Bowden.
Bowden, okay. All right, so for the three, Gabriel Giamatti, Richard Giamatti, and Mr. Bowden, I get you to raise your right hands. And do you and each of you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
I do. Yes.
All right, so Mr. Walden, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll call the applicant, Gabriel Giannotti, to testify. You there, Mr. Giannotti?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are Gabriel Giannotti, correct?
Yes.
And is it true that Francesca Giannotti was your sister?
Yes.
And is it true that Francesca tragically passed away on April 11th of this year in San Marcos at the age of 20?
Yes.
And she didn't have a will, did she?
No, sir.
But is it at the time of her passing, Francesca was legally, her legal residence was there, it was here in Austin County, correct?
Yes.
With your mother? And is it true that we need an administrator appointed for Francesca's estate so that the administrator of her estate can consent and sign documents and make decisions on Francesca's behalf or on behalf of her estate in the estate of your father?
Yes.
Now, you're familiar with the things that disqualify a person from serving as administrator in the state of Texas, and nothing disqualifies you from being the administrator of Francesca's estate, does it?
No.
You're qualified in every respect, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions for Mr. Giannotti, Your Honor.
Mr. Longoria, any questions for him?
I do, Judge. Gabriel, my name is Stephen Longoria. I'm an attorney ad litem in this case. I did not take the opportunity to visit with you. I did speak to Mr. Bowden and Richard Giannotti. I am sorry for your loss of your sister. Just a couple of questions. So you were close, real close to her as her older brother, is that right?
Of course.
And you knew that she was a student at Texas State and she had never married, is that right?
That's right.
And she had never had any children, is that correct?
No, she did not.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Walden, may call you next.
Okay, I'll call Richard Giannotti.
Okay.
Mr. Giannotti, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Your name is Richard Giannotti, correct?
Correct.
And you personally knew Francesca Giannotti also because isn't it true that her father, Leonardo Giannotti, was your brother?
Correct.
So Francesca was your niece.
Yes.
And so you are familiar with Francesca's marital and family history, correct?
Correct.
And Francesca was never married, was she?
No.
And she never had or adopted a child, did she?
No.
Okay, and so now her father, your brother Leonardo, died before she did, didn't he?
Yes.
And her mother is April Polk, and Ms. Polk is still living, correct?
Correct.
Now, your brother Leonardo was, to the best of your knowledge, he was married twice in his lifetime, one very short marriage in the late 80s, and then he was married to Francesca's mother, correct?
Correct.
And is it true that in his short marriage in the late 80s ended in divorce and that there was never a child born to that marriage, correct?
Correct.
And then the children that were born to his marriage to Francesca's mother, April Polk, were Francesca, of course, and then Gabriel Giannotti and Julian Giannotti, correct?
Correct.
And April Polk never had or adopted any children other than those three, correct?
Correct.
Your brother, Leonardo Giannotti, Francesca's father, never had or no other child was ever born to or adopted by your brother, was there? Just those three?
Correct. Yeah, nobody else.
And did Leonardo, sorry, that's your brother, Mr. Giannotti, you don't have any legal or financial interest in Francesca's estate, do you?
No.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Giannotti.
Mr. Longoria?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Richard, my name is Stephen Longoria, and you and I pretty much had the same conversation on the phone about a week ago. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I think Mr. Walden just asked you pretty much everything I've asked you. Is there anything else you need to add?
No.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Walden, call your next.
Yeah, last witness will be Johnny Bowden. Mr. Bowden, you there?
Oh, he's muted. You're still muted, Mr.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, hello, Mr. Bowden.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Can you,
Okay,
Judge?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Your name is Johnny Bowden, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you personally knew Francesca Giannotti, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Isn't it true that Francesca's father, Leonardo Giannotti, is a long-time friend of yours, correct?
That's correct. Yes,
And you knew the whole family, correct?
that's correct. Yes,
And you're familiar with Francesca's marital and family history?
yes.
I mean, you know that she was never married, was she?
She was never married. Yes.
And to your knowledge, she never had or adopted a child, did she?
No, sir.
Yeah. And Leonardo, your longtime friend, was her father, and he passed away before she did, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Francesca's mother, April Polk, is still living, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And is it true that your friend Leonardo was married 2 times during his lifetime? Once was a very early marriage that didn't last very long in the late 80s in Colorado, and then he was married to April Polk.
Yeah, that's correct.
And the only children that Leonardo was ever the father of are Francesca, of course, and then Julian Giannotti and Gabriel Giannotti, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Leonardo Giannotti never adopted a child, correct?
No, sir.
Never had a child with another
No,
wife
no,
or girlfriend or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. And no other child was ever born to April Polk other than the 3 she had with Leonardo, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's as long as I know. Yes.
As far as you know. As far as you know. And as far as you know, April never adopted a child, did she? As far as you know.
As long as I know. Yes. No, she never.
Now, you don't have any legal or financial interest in Francesca's estate, do you?
No, sir.
Okay, that's all I've got, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Longoria?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Bowden, my name is Stephen Longoria, and we spoke on the phone about a week ago. Is that correct?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And this is pretty much the same information that Mr. Walden just asked you, you and I discussed as well, correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. No, Judge, I have no other questions from Mr. Bowden.
All right, so Mr. Walden, anything else?
We rest, Your Honor.
And Mr. Longoria, anything else?
Judge, I spoke to Mr. Giannotti, Richard Giannotti before, and I spoke to Mr. Bowden. These were the 2 names that Mr. Walden had provided me. I also spoke to a high school friend of Miss Francesca and am satisfied that she was born to Leonardo and April Giannotti, that she has the 2 brothers, and that she never married, never adopted a child, and never had a child. I also reviewed Mr. Walden's order, and everything looked in order there. Nothing further from me, Judge.
Okay, great. And let me just add to it. Let me ask Gabriel Giamatti, do you know if she has an interest in real property?
I can answer that, Your Honor.
Mr. Walden, go ahead.
Her father, Leonardo Giannotti, owned a house in Fort Bend County, and his estate is pending in Fort Bend County Court at Law. And so Francesca was an heir to her father. Her father died without a will, so she was a 1/3 owner, upon his death in this house that was Leonardo's.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Walden, what would you estimate then, not counting the real estate, of the value of her estate?
She had, and Gabriel can correct me if I'm wrong, each of Leonardo's 3 children were direct beneficiaries of a retirement account, an IRA or retirement account of some sort. And I believe her, what she received out of it was over $50,000, between $50,000 and $60,000. So, but that was already in her name, didn't pass through Leonardo's estate because they were designated beneficiaries. And then the house, Leonardo's house, is the primary asset. And we don't know what's still yet because we don't have an administrator appointed in Leonardo's estate. The bank won't tell us what's in the checking account, but Gabriel and his brother have told me that their dad operated with kind of, low checking account balance at most times. So we don't expect much there.
Okay. All right. And so I'll direct this to both Gabriel Giammotti and Richard Giammotti. The request has been made to appoint, Gabriel Giammotti as the administrator without a bond. And it sounds like, as far as cash, things like that, that she has about $50,000 of that money. It's going to need to be divided up between Alice Polk, Julian Giammotti, and Gabriel Giammotti. The value of having a bond is to protect Gabriel Giammotti. So if he gets this $50,000, and runs off with it and keeps it himself and doesn't distribute it, Richard Giammotti and Miss Polk would have to go after him to try to get anything. If he spends all the money, there may be nothing left to get. If he has to put up a bond and he runs off with the money, there'd be a bond to go after. So,
Your Honor, just for clarification, so I don't want Richard Giannotti to be confused. Gabriel's brother is Julian. Richard is just a witness. He's not an heir.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it'd be Gabriel. Yeah, he would, and he's Leonardo's brother, so it's all confusing. But it's April Polk and Gabriel, and then Gabriel's brother Julian are the three heirs of Francesca.
Okay.
I just didn't want Mr. Richard Giannotti to be confused by what you were saying.
Okay. Okay. And I probably did confuse him. All right. So the only person then in the screens in front of me that is an heir then is going to be Gabriel Giammotti. You're the one that's being asked to be appointed as the administrator. So you'd be in charge of her money and distributing it to Alice Polk, Julian Giammotti, and then you would get some yourself.
Yes, sir.
All right. So are you willing to take that responsibility without a bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think, Gabriel, just for the judge's information, you and Julian communicate quite frequently, don't you?
Yes.
You're close to your brother.
Right.
I think his older brother's going to be watching him, Judge.
Okay. Okay. All right. And Mr. Longoria, what's your fee?
I spoke to Mr. Walden yesterday, Judge. I said $500.
I think that sounds reasonable, Your Honor.
All right. So then I'll approve Mr. Longoria's fee. Again, find that Alice Polk, Julian Giammotti, and Gabriel Giammotti are the heirs, and appoint Gabriel Giammotti as the independent administrator without a bond. And so, Mr. Walden, are you going to get the oath, Gabriel Giammotti, an oath, and get that in?
Yes, and we'll have the witness sign affidavits and all that.
Okay, so to Gabriel Giammotti, after that other paperwork makes it to the clerk's office, you can get what's called a letter of administration to go to the bank and get control of this money. The bank's probably going to want to see this document called a letter of administration.
Okay.
Okay. And then there also will be an inventory that'll be due in 90 days.
Okay.
Mr. Walden can help you get that put together.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody?
Not for me, Your Honor.
All
No,
right.
Judge.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
May
you.
we be excused.
May be excused. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I know.
Hey, all right. Well, watch. Boy, you're so technically advanced. It's amazing.
I was, so this is the first time I've tried it on my laptop. That's why, right, 5 minutes before I start looking for the email, because I knew it was there. I knew Karina sent it out, but everything gets, tied into one email. So that I had to find the invite. So anyway.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I have a family law hearing, so give me Astros updates.
It's a 4 o'clock game.
I think it's a 4 o'clock game.
All righty.
Hopefully I'll be
Talk to
done
you
by then. All right, bye.
Bye.